You've probably heard about China building a new kind of empire. But this one, it isn't about land or resources. No, it's about something way more fundamental in our modern world: the control of information. Today, we're diving deep into China's digital Silk Road, a massive strategy that's quietly rewriting the very rules of the internet.
For years, all we've really seen are the headlines and the photos from China's Belt and Road Initiative. You know, these huge, tangible projects, concrete and steel, literally rewriting global trade routes.
But here's the thing. What if the most important part of this whole project is completely invisible? Running right alongside all that concrete is a different kind of network, one built from fiber optics, 5G, and AI. It's a network of data, and ultimately, a network of control.
And that, right there, is the Digital Silk Road, or DSR. You can think of it as this grand strategy to weave Chinese technology, Chinese standards, and Chinese ideology into the very backbone of the world's digital infrastructure.
Okay, so how exactly is this digital empire being put together? Well, the whole strategy really comes down to two very distinct and incredibly powerful pillars.
The first pillar is subtle, but it's foundational. It's all about writing the rules for how all future technology communicates with each other. The second pillar, well, it's a lot more direct. It's about exporting the exact tools of surveillance and control that China uses on its own people.
Let's start with those standards. Now, I know, the word standard sounds incredibly dry, but stick with me, because this is arguably the most important piece of the whole puzzle. Why? Simple. The group that sets the technical rules for new tech ends up winning the future. It's kind of like being the one who decided we'd all drive on a certain side of the road. Once that's set, everything else has to be built to match. I mean, just think about it. The United States and its allies played a massive role in shaping the original internet, which is why so much of it still operates on Western standards. Well, China is now making a play to do the exact same thing for the next generation of technology, and they're especially focused on AI.
And they are not being shy about this at all. Beijing is pouring an incredible amount of resources into international groups like the International Telecommunication Union. They're basically flooding these organizations with technical proposals to make sure that Chinese protocols for things like facial recognition and AI governance become the new global default.
And that brings us to the second and frankly much more alarming pillar: the mass export of AI-powered surveillance systems to countries all over the world. Get this, China is the world's leading exporter of this technology. It sells its systems to 83 different nations. To put that in perspective, that is almost double the number of countries the United States exports similar tech to. And we're not just talking about abstract sales here. In Ecuador, you have 4,000 Chinese-built cameras feeding a national surveillance platform. In Zimbabwe, a deal with a company called CloudWalk Technology has led to a mass facial recognition program. These safe city projects are really active tools of social and political control, and they often look a lot like the systems China uses at home. So, what happens when you put these two pillars together? Well, you get this really dangerous feedback loop. It's a system that can effectively lock countries into China's technological and political orbit.
It works like a pretty simple three-step playbook. First, a developing nation becomes economically dependent on affordable Chinese tech, like Huawei's 5G. Second, it just becomes natural for them to adopt the Chinese standards that make all that new hardware run. And then, finally, they start to import the governance model that comes attached. The digital Silk Road slowly becomes a kind of digital Iron Curtain.
And the result of all of this isn't just dependency. It's a fundamental split in the digital world, creating two really different competing visions for what the future of the internet should even be.
We are literally seeing the rise of what some people are calling a splinternet. On one side, you have the blue bloc, led by the US and Europe, which says it values open standards and democratic principles. And on the other side, you have the red bloc, led by China and Russia, which is all about a state-controlled, tightly monitored internet. And the digital Silk Road, that's the engine driving the expansion of that second model. It is the main vehicle China is using to export its vision of a closed, regulated, and surveilled internet to dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And that's exactly why this isn't just about which company sells more 5G towers or builds more data centers. This is a fundamental conflict of values. It's about the future of individual liberty versus state control in our digital age. Now, the West is trying to respond with things like the Clean Network program, offering alternative investment packages. But here's the real challenge.
These alternatives are often more expensive, and they come with requirements for things like transparency and human rights, which can make them a much tougher sell for certain governments.
So the key takeaway here is this. While Western nations are caught up in these very important debates about the ethics of artificial intelligence, China isn't waiting. It is actively building its vision for the future of the internet, exporting it one line of code, one fiber optic cable, and one surveillance camera at a time.
And that leaves us with a critical question. This isn't about some far-off future. This is about a world being built right now, silently, in the background. What happens when the infrastructure that carries half of the world's data is designed, built, and ultimately controlled